The highly circulated Russian tabloid KP had an exclusive interview yesterday with the former commander-in-chief of the Russian ground forces. His take on Russia's invasion of Ukraine is something. He says, quote, "We are conducting a military humane operation, one might say surgical, in order to save people's lives as much as possible, their houses, roads, bridges, factories," end quote. Hours after that interview published, Russia bombed one of the main bridges between Kyiv and the city to its northeast. Over the weekend, Russia bombed one of Europe's largest iron and steel factories in the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol. As for the rest of Mariupol, Russian forces there have stopped advancing traditionally. Instead, they are leveling the city from afar. They're starving out the civilian population, denying them access to medical and humanitarian supplies. Russia is quite literally destroying Ukrainian, quote, "houses, roads, bridges, and factories," end quote. On Monday, this same Russian tabloid newspaper ran an article saying that nearly 10,000 Russian troops had been killed in Ukraine. Now, within hours, the article had been taken down. The site published an advisory saying it had been hacked and the story was a fake. But keep in mind, 10,000 soldiers is much higher than the Russian government's last public announcement 3 weeks ago, which only mentioned a loss of 498 troops. NATO's estimate is even higher than America's. It says up to 40,000 Russian troops have been killed, wounded, captured, or are missing in action. If any of these non-Russian estimates are correct, it's going to be hard to continue to keep that from the Russian people, given images like this one. This is a funeral for the deputy commander of Russia's Black Sea Fleet yesterday in Crimea. The funeral is for just one of the dozens of high-level Russian officers that Ukraine claims they have killed so far. Ukraine also claims to have killed 6 Russian generals, which is basically unheard of in modern warfare. At some point, no matter how much the Russian government tries to control the narrative, the Russian people are going to start noticing just how many military funerals there are and how many people they know who've lost loved ones, especially given the victories that we're continuing to see from Ukrainian forces. Joining us now is Joshua Yaffa. He's a correspondent for The New Yorker, based primarily in Moscow, but he was in Ukraine the moment Russian bombs started dropping, and he's done some incredible reporting from there since. He's also the author of Between Two Fires, Truth, Ambition, and Compromise in Putin's Russia. Joshua, thanks for being with us this evening. We appreciate it. I want to get a sense of, given that you've been inside Ukraine and then to Russia, Putin's got a very tight grip on power in Russia. Does it matter if Russian citizens learn the truth and turn against him? Would it actually change something from Vladimir Putin's reality?
I think it certainly would change something for Vladimir Putin's reality if, as you say, Russian citizens en masse were to learn the truth of this war, whether the degree of destruction of Ukrainian cities. That's something certainly not talked about on Russian television. This continues to be called a special military operation in official channels. If you look at polling, many Russians believe that this is a limited military engagement in the east of the country, the Donbass region. People aren't aware that Kyiv is being bombed, Kharkiv is being bombed, Mariupol. You showed those terrible pictures of how destroyed that city is. Many people don't know that. So if Russians were to learn indeed the war that is being fought in their name, what it really looks like, the ugliness and horror of that war, I think many of them would be surprised, if not shocked, at how widespread the violence is against Ukrainian cities and against Ukrainian people. And I think, of course, equally impactful could be the knowledge of how many Russian soldiers are being killed in this war. This estimate of 10,000 that we saw published in a Moscow paper the other day before it was quickly retracted. The question is, will they? Not what the effect would be, but will they even learn of that information? And that, I think, is a bigger question so far since the beginning of the war and in the month since the war began, a month today. In fact, nearly all of the leading independent, not even opposition-minded, but really just any independent non-state-run, non-state-controlled sources of information in Russia have been blocked, shuttered, its journalists forced to leave the country, websites taken down or blocked access to them, even social media, Facebook blocked, Instagram blocked. So where will Russians learn that information from? That's a really tricky question. There are, of course, VPNs. People are using them, but not everyone has that kind of technical ability. Russian government regulators are also trying to go after VPN operators. So really, it's a cat and mouse game with people left with not many sources where they could find out that sort of information. And I think the reason that the Kremlin is being so diligent in going after these sources of information and making sure that Russians don't have access to them is because they know that if en masse, in large numbers, Russians were to learn the truth about this war, it could be really destabilizing. But I'm just not sure that that turn of events will really come anytime soon, given the Kremlin's control over the social, political, and media spheres, and they may well succeed for some time in preventing this information from spreading more widely.